According to my smartphone, I go by the date as London local time. Ireland adopts Greenwich Mean Time. Greenwich Mean Time applies right over the island of Ireland to such an extent that Belmullet, the next parish to America, is 25 minutes behind that of the Greenwich line. I was at the line. That's just historical, no big deal. The lines of time are related to the manufacture of clocks, and as far as I can understand, the best and most accurate clocks way back in the 1700s time were made in Britain, and so that's the way it is. Now, I have to hold my hand up and say I've made a mistake. I've made a mistake. I knew nothing about the Sinn Fein meeting in Carrick, and I checked it out. A person rang me and says, Val, do you know this meeting's taking place? Will you go? And when is it, says I. And they distinctly, now I'm hardly raving, said Tuesday coming. And I checked it on the internet and I saw that it was on Tuesday at 6 o'clock. And I thought it a bit strange, but I went with that. So maybe I should have researched it more, but I possibly should have checked the Sinn Féin website. And I say maybe I should have. But I'm a busy man. I have a cow and calf now that was in a wee bit of risk on Friday morning and Thursday night, Friday morning, and I had to develop that and get a little bit of colostrum and that, and now he's fine. And so I just not my own boss entirely. Now, when I say on an earlier video that I go by the sun, well, that's true, but I just can't plan exactly with a farm. The animals come first, and also other emergencies that can crop up. So I said the meeting was on Tuesday at 6 o'clock. And I want to correct that, and I want to do it in a non-confrontational way. I'm not going to do any lambasting of Sinn Féin or Matt Carthy or anyone else, because I just want people to understand. As best as I understand it, the meeting is at 7 p.m. on Monday, the 29th of September. And it'd make a lot more sense because the last meeting was on a Monday as well. Now, people posted 6 o'clock is not a good time, and they were saying that was connivance by Sinn Féin, but we're not going there at all. No, it's I don't know where that was. Maybe it was an older thing or something. I can't quite say. But I don't often ask favours from my people. The last time I did so was to go fund me for my election campaign, and thank you for that. I don't often, but this is one thing I'd like to do, that you tell people who might be going to the meeting that it's scheduled for Monday that's tonight at 7 o'clock. Now, I also beg you to check it out yourself. Check the Sinn Féin website. Check it and check it again. Get it right. If you don't you can blame me. I'll have to agree it's my fault. I should have researched it better. I should have went on the Sinn Féin website, but I didn't do it. But anyway, I gave a wrong time of the meeting. So I do ask everyone, if you know anyone who might be interested, let them know when the meeting is. 7 p.m. Monday night, the 29th of September 2025. That's the best I can do. The best I can do. Okay, so I hope that doesn't cause anyone inconvenience. It's quite easy to mistake things like that. I've been catching clocks and making interview appointments, court appointments all my life. Can never remember getting it wrong. But anyway, that's that. If somebody goes, report back to me what happened. Let's know what happened. Now, as it says, a continuation meeting. I think what's going on there is, at the last meeting, Matt Carthy made notes. And he said he'd get back. And I said, this is getting back on the questions that was asked. So maybe he's going to give answers. And I'm not making an issue of anyone who's asked a question not answering immediately. You can't go around with the whole world stuck up in your head. So if somebody asks you a question, I'll check that out for you. And that's fair enough. So we may be getting answers tonight on that issue. But I mean, I don't retract what I said. Sinn Féin brought these people here. But they had willing accomplices in the Green Party, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. Now the Greens are not in power, Sinn Féin is not in power, and the push for the migrants is as bad as ever. They're still bringing them in. However, I see there where Jim O'Callaghan, the Fianna Fáil minister, is talking about giving a €10,000 grant for them to go. So that is an acknowledgement that they shouldn't have got in the first place. And he's talking about a €25,000 grant, 10,000 for an individual, 25 for families. And them getting 500 a week. Why are they giving them the same social welfare benefits as a native? The answer is the parties love this, and it's beginning to be stuck in their faces, and they're trying to get out of it. All right, enough said there. One other point is, Lyons' Tea is constantly on about me getting farm grants from the EU, and I've answered that question. And this is one of the problems with my channel. When he says I'm getting farm grants from the EU on 2 or 3 videos and says I'm not answering that question, and I turn around and I explain that I'm not getting anything from them, that we're net contributors from the EU, and other contributors say we were after giving away 85% of our fish. A country, Ireland, with lots of fish. In fact, the shape of Ireland includes Donegal, so Northern Ireland only has a small section of the sea, and we have the whole coast around to give 85% of it away. So anything I'm getting has to be borne in mind for what we gave in return. Think of the riches those fish would have. And in Iceland, and I was in Iceland, they keep the fish themselves. Big cod. That big as a big salmon. Okay, so we give that away. But anyway, I put the record straight, and it was backed up by a few contributors there. It's only in the last couple of videos about the EU, and I made it clear I'm getting nothing from the EU. We're net contributors to the EU. And then, of course, Lyons' Tea gently tiptoes off. He sneaks off when you defeat him. So when you defeat one of them, another of them comes up with some new idea. And they'll ask you some far-out question that would take a year's research to find out. Now, the next thing is, just consider this. I'm accused of taking money from the EU, whom I've sworn to destroy. And I'm also accused of taking money from Russia. Now, I'm a Russian spy. The Russians are paying me, according to another contributor there. So, am I not one of the, I never claim to be intelligent. I just claim to be very, very good looking in a sort of a rugged kind of a way. I mean, I must be the best looking gent around. I can't think of anyone as good looking as me. I can't. That's without the teeth. And I wash my tooth every morning. Don't forget. Very great personal hygiene. But anyway, the point about it is that if I can get payment from the EU and from Russia, would that not make me a genius? A genius. And would it not follow that I'd be getting payment from the Trump government? I'm backing him a lot. Anyway, you get the point. There'll always be that. And when I push them out like that and ask him about the Russian payments, they just tiptoe off and you don't hear them again. But we need contributors. I can't start banning people unless they're so messy or incoherent that's to destroy the channel, but I have to try and let them on. So that's the thing there. But I'd like to hear from the posters who hate Russia. And Russia's no angel. I mean, there have been incidents, people falling out of windows and everything. Putin's no angel. And that, but when you consider the former Soviet Union, but when you also consider that in 1991 the Russian Empire collapsed, and I believe that the West should have engaged big time with Russia at that time. What happened was the people that had their hands on the levers of power got it. So they set themselves up as the owners of the state assets, and they became known as oligarchs, and they nearly all live in London. They nearly all live near Bishop Street in London, in mansions costing 12 and 14 million pounds sterling with security and all. So that all developed. So that scared the West a bit, maybe. But I would have been saying, should we not have had good relations with Russia? We also have to remember that it's America that bombed the Nord Stream pipeline and destroyed Russia's gas. It is a real mess. Now, one of the tools I use in my campaigning is satire and making a laugh of these people, and it's very effective. You could give out about Ursula von der Leyen and say, oh, she's an awful, oh, she's horrible, and she doesn't care. I'm going to do my job the way I want. I'm going to run the thing the way I want. But you make her look stupid and start laughing at her, and she's beat. She's beat. She's beat. Okay. Now, we let you go now at that, just to make it go back again on that. The meeting is tonight, the 29th of September. It's a Monday. It's at 7 p.m. in the Shirley Arms Hotel in Carrick. It's described as a continuation meeting. If you go there, see what's said. The point about it is, to some degree, the Sinn Féin TDs now inherited this. I wonder what would Keavy Ní Keelan say about his bringing in these people. This trend has been started by people like Sinn Féin, and we can't understand why. Nobody can understand why. And a lot of people say they won't vote for them again, but they have a very strong vote in Cavan Monaghan, and they'll still get TDs. But I mean, the Sinn Féin policy on plantation of Ulster and of Ireland is identical to the British policy way back 200 years ago in the planting of Ireland, with retired generals and soldiers and British warlords that took over big tracts of estates. The various landlords were all military. If you look on Griffith's Poor Law valuation, they're all colonels. In Kingscourt, it's Colonel Pratt. They're all British Army colonels, and they planted the place with their people. And now it's been done with people who mostly hate our country. But one thing I think it's very important to bring out, and that is at this meeting and everywhere else, and that is the difference between genuine people coming here, who should be assessed, and a limited number coming in to do jobs that we mightn't want to do, and unvetted migrants. Now, the other thing, as a former policeman, and I get a lot of stick for being a former Garda, people say, you have some cheek on you, you're a retired guard, how dare you fight the state? I did my 32-year service. I did it impeccably. I watched me back. I was the victim of corruption all over, but I was too clever for the senior officers that got promoted. I've told you all some of the stories about them, and I managed to survive and draw my pension. I owe no more. The only debt I owe to An Garda Síochána is I can't divulge secret matters that I learned during my service, but I can divulge trends and tell you about individual cases, but not give the name and address of people, and that will never happen with me. And that's the strength of my channel. I know the law, and I know the law on defamation that had me in the High Court 10 years ago. Not only do I know the law, I don't have to go to a barrister to defend myself. So that's why I'm unique, and that's why I am doing this. So I have me a bit of a pension out of the Guards. I think I'd done better driving a lorry. I think if I drove a lorry, I'd do better. Now, the thing about the subsidies that Lyons' Tea brings up about, I only had very small, something like 1,800 euros. There was no subsidies when I was young. We were getting nothing here. And we used to get slagged when I go into work in industries. Oh, yes, are getting big subsidies. You shouldn't be getting them. I never remember, or my mother or my father getting them. I never seen anything coming here. We had to pay rates and rent. But then it came on, and I was away, and I couldn't run my herd, and I had to let bits of land and come to all kinds of compromises, and it ran sort of wild, and I had to run my job because it was demanded of me that I respond when wanted. Even if you're off, you're expected to come in if there was an emergency. And I didn't want, I agreed that I'd do that, and I enjoyed the job as a detective sergeant very, very well. And I had great staff and everything like that. So it was great fun, like I was doing that. And it was all a life experience. And now I have a bit of a pension, but it's not the case that I wouldn't have anything without it. If I only drove a lorry, I'd have a non-contributory pension, and I can drive a lorry. So I could have got a job in any factory here. The farm wouldn't keep you. When I was young, it wouldn't keep you. And the subsidies now have been improved a bit. And what they've done now is they've levelled it out. They've taken a bit of the top earners for subsidies, and they've given it down to people like me. So it's a wee bit better now. It's a wee bit better. and an odd time to send you in a bit of a tranche there, and maybe there's a hole somewhere you need to pay, or you want to buy some wee thing to do with your hobby, and the next thing it comes in, or maybe there's some emergency you have to lend somebody something, and the next thing is you get a wee bit of money this time of year. And why we sell our cattle, we all know to sell the cattle when the money comes in from the subsidies, because the farmer going out buying our junior cattle or immature cattle will have a few bob in his pocket, and you'll get a slightly better price. So it's there's no shame attached to it. Don't forget, we have a massive beef industry. We spent 37 or 8 million to protect against the foot and mouth. Why? Because not only is that what the farmer gets, there's the factories, there's the milk processing, there's the cheese, there's the Bailey's Irish cream, there's the whey, there's all of these farming products. Our land is among the most lush for producing food there is. It was found even in China they had to import some Irish milk for the baby formula, because there's ingredients in Irish milk that can't be reproduced anywhere else. And I was in America and out in the West, it's not the same at all. So the point about it is, if we are landowners, if we're farmers, we have a responsibility to the state and to our people to manage it as best as we can. And the state recognises that there's a reduction in the beef herd, that the suckler herd is getting slaughtered. And I've just told you there, I've made a mistake advertising the Sinn Fein meeting, or notifying you of the Sinn Fein meeting tonight, Monday, because I was looking after a new calf that could be lost. So will you get people to do that in years to come? And they're not doing it. They're not producing the beef, because it's a big job. It's a skill job, and you have to have a knack of doing it. And there's more to be earned elsewhere. And if there's no beef cattle, no beef lambs, no mutton, no lamb, and no milk, which is a huge job. You have to milk them twice a day and manage them. And yesterday I had an appointment with somebody. I had to cancel it because our heifer repeated she needed to be served again with the AI, and I had to cancel that. And I'm only a wee fella, a little lad, a little fry, But the thing I'm making about it is, this farming at grassroots level is vital for our economy overall. Because the meat factories, the burgers, the McDonald's, not only are we supplying Irish McDonald's and places, we're supplying Birmingham and Liverpool and Manchester, massive cities and London and Edinburgh. And we do the best we can. So that's why I don't think anyone should begrudge me a bit of subsidy. And I can tell you, it comes in on one hand, and it goes out to the contractors on the other, and you're hoping to cream a wee bit for yourself. You're hoping to buy some wee thing you wanted, some wee manoeuvre, or maybe build a workshop. I have ideas maybe of putting up a wee workshop here at the farm. I have one at my main house, but I'd rather have it here. So you get my point. Anyway, enough said on that. You can begrudge me all you like. People are surprised I'm so outspoken. And people say I'm very intelligent. I won't judge myself, except on Val's Pictorial Weekly, which is a bit of fun. People say that. But the thing is, according to my contributors here, some of them, the lefties, I'm getting paid from the EU and from Russia. And the Irish government for being a policeman. I'm not doing too bad to get paid by 3 of them. And 2 of them at war. So draw your own conclusions about that. Draw your own conclusions. I said when I went for election that anyone could check my account, and that nobody ever took me up. Anyone can come into the bank and see my account, provided they don't waste too much time, and see every transaction there and not find anything amiss. But I organise myself in such a way that I can do this. I never went more, and I hate to see people crying. I saw people in cattle marts long ago, and they'd be selling their cattle, and these people had pensions out of industries, and they'd be up with the auctioneer, maybe somewhere, could be Granard, Ballyduff, Cavan, Ballybay, anywhere, no need to name them, and further afield, up in RD too, and and they'd cry, I'm only getting 650, and they'd come down, I got a bad price. And these people with the bank full of money, I'd say to them, will you cop yourself on, who the hell do you think you are? Now the marts had to quit. Now they sell them, and if you don't like it, you can choose to take it. There's no such thing as going into the ring now and saying, I want more, I want more. It's the auctioneer's job to get more. Get me point. Anyway, that's it, folks. Enough said. That's my video for today. I have a lot on today. The meeting is again on Monday night. So sorry, I've made a mistake. I will put my hands up. And now the next job is to find where the Russians are leaving this money. Oh, I hope they're not leaving it down at the road. What for? Is it in rubles, or is it euros, or is it dollars, gold, silver? I don't know. It'd be great to find out, wouldn't it? All right, we'll see you back. Good luck. Thank you.